सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Good evening, good morning. Welcome back. We are continuing our discussion on chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. I know that we are going very slow. We are covering, taking longer time. But that's the nature of this chapter. This chapter needs to be understood properly. So we covered up to verse 20 last week of the Bhagavad Gita. We will try to do a quick recap and try to connect the dots and move ahead. So predominantly I will focus on what we covered last week because that needs to be understood. Just keep in mind, always keep in mind that the whole subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita changes in chapter 7. Up to chapter 6, predominantly it was focusing on who am I? And the next 6 chapter mainly focus on the Ishvara or the God of the universe. And that is one major change. And Krishna started introducing who is Ishvara. He said, as Ishvara, he is not talking as Krishna, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, an incarnation who was born like 5,000 years back and left the world at a period of time. Here, when he talks about Ishvara, he is identifying with the Paramatma or the Supreme Ishvara. So please keep that in mind. From that angle, when Krishna trying to explain Ishvara, he said, Ishvara has 2 forms or 2 types of manifestation. One is called Paraprakriti and the other one is called Aparaprakriti. Paraprakriti is the ultimate form of Ishvara. It doesn't have any name. It doesn't have any form. It is all pervading, and that is the real nature of the Ishvara. Everything else in this universe is derived from that Paraprakriti. We heard all the material thing in the universe came out of that Paraprakriti. Every mental or subtle objects, that also came from that Paraprakriti. Everything exists in that Paraprakriti. And finally, everything merges back to that Paraprakriti. That Paraprakriti is beyond Krishna, beyond Rama, beyond Vishnu, beyond Shiva. Any form of Ishvara we can visualize is beyond that. And that is the true nature of the Ishvara. And truly speaking, there is only Ishvara. It's not that there is one God, there is only God. That is the vision of the Vedanta. And that every worship, whenever you worship a deity in the form of Venkatachalapati or Krishna or Rama or as a local village deity, what you are worshipping is a particular form which is in the Aparaprakriti, which is completely okay, but know that the Paraprakriti is much beyond that. It's like symbolizing in a country in a small flag. The size of the flag is how much? The size of the United States is how much? The scope of the flag is how much? The scope of the United States is how much? But still, You can see the country in that flag, right? That flag is a representation of that entire country. So it is up to me to select the form I would like to worship Ishvara. But that doesn't mean that Ishvara is confined to that form only. This is the whole idea we have been discussing. So there is no point or there is no logic in arguing that Shiva is greater than Vishnu or Vishnu is greater than Shiva. If you extend that, Shiva is greater than Jesus or Jesus is greater than Shiva, no such thing. Whenever you invoke Ishvara, you are invoking Ishvara of that one Ishvara. So this is the vision of the Gita. And he said, when you have this para prakriti and apara prakriti, how do you spot that Ishvara in the apara prakriti? We have given a few examples. Yes, you may not recognize Ishvara in every form, but wherever you see a glory in the nature, rasohamapsu kaunteya, prabhasmi shashisuryo, right? Wherever you see some glory in the nature, understand that, yeah, I can see Ishvara there. So that's one easy way to recognize Ishvara. So this is one of the key point we talked. And then Rasohamapsu Kaunteya, that topic we covered. And after that we covered one more interesting point. When there is para prakriti and apara prakriti, when my real goal is to know that apara prakriti, Ishvara in its fullest potential, because I think somebody is making a lot of noise. If you are not speaking, can you go on mute? I don't know who it is. It's okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. We lose the flow.
We're talking about
Yes. When you think about para prakriti is the real nature. Why every individual is getting hooked onto apara prakriti? So on verse 13, I highlighted as one of the most important verses of the Bhagavad Gita. The fundamental problem of the human being is discussed. What Krishna said is, you cannot find permanent peace and happiness and contentment in apara prakriti. You think that this money is going to make me happy or give me all the security, or this particular relation is going to give me complete contentment, or this particular position is going to make me completely secure. Not at all. Why? Because none of them are permanent, none of them are complete, none of them are, all of them are changing. They are subjected to change. So that is the problem. Even if they don't change, you will change. As most of us are immigrants to this country, I'll tell you one example. When you came to this country, not the previous generation, but my generation people, when you come in H1 visa, you all think that when you get a green card, oh my God, I won't ask anything. What is now? So that status won't change, but you change. We always change. We won't get, I mean, there's nothing wrong in that, right? You need to go for the new thing, but know that they are impermanent. You may think you may have a goal right now. You may have a goal right now, but when you get that goal, your goal will change. One more example. This beautiful book is there on flow. All right. It's a beautiful neuropsychological book. In that book, the author cites a beautiful example. It's mind-blowing. So he tells, imagine the luxury of Julius Caesar he had at that point of time. Maximum speed he could achieve is 35 kilometers per hour, because that is the speed of a horse. The luxury he had in his palace, in terms of the food, in terms of the conditions, everything. Take it as, because that is the highest you can take at that point of time. Ordinary people like you and me have it, much more than that. So anybody living at that point of time, if he could imagine, I could get the facilities Caesar is engaging, he thought I would be in heaven. But we all have it. Are we happy? No. This is the problem. This problem is called samsara. Krishna said, that which hooks you, that which makes you believe that by collecting, engaging, acquiring, and possessing the apara prakriti, whatever that is in this universe, if you think that you will be completely secure, completely happy, that delusion is known as maya, and that problem is known as samsara. So then Shankaracharya gives a beautiful example. See, you wanted to take a bath in a flowing river. The flowing river is always beautiful because the water is so pure. But if you jump into a flowing river, say in Haridwar or Rishikesh or all those places, what happens? If you don't have a proper anchor, what is going to happen? Or a hook, you will be also flowing. This is the problem of the samsara. So what we are saying, some pessimist will say, reject the world. That is, no, if somebody tells you don't take the bath in the water, that is running away. That's not what Gita is telling. Gita tells you can take the bath, but how? Holding on to a chain, which is firm, which is stable. So like that, nobody is saying that we should not engage in life. Nobody is saying that we should not take part in life. Nobody is saying that we should not enjoy the life. Enjoy the life by holding on to something which is reliable, stable, and everything. Right? And that is called Ishvara. Ishvara prapriti, Ishvara bhakti. That bhakti or that connection with Ishvara is going to give us the strength, the courage, and everything to live in this world. This is the vision of the Vedanta. I'm so sorry to repeat this many times, but if you get one concept out of Gita, if this is the Ishvara Bhakti, and then Krishna said, right, there are two categories of people. One category of people, they are dushkritaha, meaning they do bad deeds, meaning they don't follow dharma, they don't recognize Ishvara. Such people, what happens? Even though they live in this world like a human being, asuram bhavam ashildaha. They live like an asura. They want. So we talked about this extensively. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, all Ravana, Kumbhakarna, all these people are, Duryodhana, all those people are within me. So when you drive out the Ravana tendencies in my mind, when you put Rama inside, Ravana cannot stand. He will go away. When you put the Narasimha inside, what happens? The Hiranyakashipu will vanish. So how do I connect with that Ishvara? Look at the flow of the Gita. It's so beautiful. Like it take you from one step to the other. How? So those who recognize Ishvara, there are four types of people. Arthaha, Artharthi, Jitnyasu, Jnani. Four type of people. Krishna called them as Sukritinaha. These are people of good deeds. They worship Ishvara. At least they recognize Ishvara. The first category is people who worship Ishvara when there is a distress. When there is a problem, they will call Ishvara. After that, gone. Artharthi, they call Ishvara to gain something. They make God, Swami Dayananda used to say, they make the God as a business partner. Right? Offering a lot of money, so engaging God, there is nothing wrong in that. So what we called this Artha and Artharthi as religious materialists. For them, the religion is for what? It is for gaining some material benefits. And there is nothing wrong in that. But So I know that we are collecting the forum, but I got an interesting question. That's why it's connected with the subject. So I'll tell that. Somebody asked me, like, is it wrong to ask Ishvara some petty things? I want that money, or I want that job, or I want that this or that, or I want a child, or I wanted my child to get married. There's nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. That is why Krishna calls such people as Sukritaha. So you can invoke Ishvara for material benefit, but please don't stick in that. That's all. You need to grow. That's all. You need to, along with that, you need to look for Jitnyasu and try to learn that. That's all. Second thing is, the question was very interesting. Why should we ask? Ishvara knows our desire. Ishvara is all pervading. So why should I ask Ishvara? That's very interesting question. Ishvara knows. Bro, what should Ishvara give us? What should Ishvara give us as blessing? Ishvara should give the highest possible thing in his pocket. That is moksha. Is that what we want? What we want is not what Ishvara want to give you, right? Imagine my meaning. You want to give something to your child, but the child's, for example, let's say that if a new, meaning a baby is there, as a parent, you are concerned about his future. So you wanted to deposit some money or give some money in his future. But the child wants a balloon. The child is more interested in the balloon or a chocolate than the big investment you are making for him. So what the child should do? When the child knows that my fathers or mothers, what they are going to give or what they wish to give is different from what I need to give, ask. So if I want some little bit of thing, don't think that God knows and God is going to give. Ask. This is what the Vedic culture tells. So this is the logic. Good question. I like the question. And then one more thing. That is why in our rituals, the Purva Bhadaga of the Veda is entirely for this desire for Artha and Artharthi. Right? So when you do a ritual, the first thing you do is a sankalpa. Those who do the ritual, they know, right? The priest will ask, what is the sankalpa? Sometimes you mechanically say, but there has to be a sankalpa. Why? I'm asking God if I'm doing the ritual properly. So that's why you need to ask. So Artha, Artharthi, Jitnyasu, Jnani. Jitnyasu means he recognized the higher cause. He wants to get connected with that higher cause, but he is putting the effort. Jnani is the highest type of bhakta. Krishna said, out of all these bhaktas are dear to me, but there is someone who is a little bit more special. Jnani. Why? Because Jnani considers himself as me, and I am not separate from Jnani. Then we had this wonderful discussion. Whom do you love most? I love my most more than anybody. So if I see myself as Ishvara's, then that is the highest form of love. That's why Jnani is the highest. So we said, and then verse 20 we were in, and there is an interesting topic of discussion. Let's try to see that. Let's go to see 20. I know, can you chant this one more time?
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया.
So need to understand this topic. That's why I'm coming back to this verse, even though we covered this. So he tells, out of a mind that is robbed away by the worldly desires. Right now, if you close your eyes and think about what you want, is moksha, if God comes in front of you and asks what you want, is moksha is your priority number one? No. So our mind is robbed. There is nothing wrong in that. Our mind is robbed with the desires for various objects, worldly desires. And with that desires, what they take refuge or they pray to Anya Devata. This is very important. So we talked about this last week. We said the bhakti, Ishvara bhakti, is of two types. One is called Sakama bhakti and the other one is called Nishkama bhakti, right? So bhakti or the devotion, what is that? What is devotion? It's an attitude towards a higher being and an act of worship. So a devotional attitude towards a higher being along with the act of worship is the bhakti, right? So when I can use this bhakti as a means for gaining finite goals or as a means for understanding Ishvara or as a means of my liberation. So whenever I use this bhakti as a means for getting finite goals, that bhakti is known as Sakama bhakti. Sakama bhakti. Right? And when I use this bhakti as a means for gaining that highest knowledge, that is called Nishkama bhakti. So this is the two types of bhakti. Because one is Sakama bhakti, other one is Nishkama bhakti. And the Sakama bhaktas, what they try to do, they have a desire for an object or they have a desire to get rid of something, maybe pain or suffering or something or a situation or to gain something. What do? They worship God. Usually they worship God in a particular form or for getting the finite goal. One interpretation, religious interpretation. So if you take this outside of the religious sphere and try to understand, I'm driven by the position. I want next promotion. So where exactly is my devotion coming to be? In gaining that promotion. Or I want to make money. So all my effort, all my devotion will be put into that. So that's okay. So that is what Krishna is saying is that prapatyande, you will be connecting, you will be worshipping, or you will be pursuing Anya Devata, not the upper Paraprakriti or the Supreme Lord of the universe. You will invoke Ishvara in different forms. If you take a religious explanation, very simple explanation. Whenever you wanted to avoid some obstacles, you will pray to Ganesha. Whenever you want to gain some knowledge, you pray to Saraswati. When you want to get rid of a problem, if you are a Shaivite, like a sick disease, if you are a Shaivite, you pray to Vaidyanatha. Or if you are a Vishnu follower, you may pray to Dhanvantari. Some people pray to Ashwini Devas. And some people pray to Surya Devata, Adit min Bhaskara in the form of. And then what happens? Each Devata, if you take the religious thing, each Devata has tam niyamamaphyaya. There is a way to approach that particular deity. So if it is a Vishnu related thing, you follow the rituals of Vishnu. If you are a Shiva related worship, you follow Shiva's worship. And then what happened? Prakritya, so driven by their own nature, right? Individual nature, you follow different types of instructions and worship, and you try to invoke that deity. Why am I invoking Lakshmi Devi? Is it because for moksha? Not at all. If you go to Balaji, most of the times the invocation is not for knowledge or wisdom or anything like that. It is for finite goals, and there is nothing wrong in that. So Krishna tells, they invoke. Or if you are an agnostic, you might be pursuing the theory of investment, or you might be pursuing something else. So you seek refuge in different devatas. Now, there is only one Ishvara, which is the Para Prakriti, and that Ishvara can be viewed in limited forms as various devatas. Right? Krishna is one form of that Ishvara. Rama is one form of Ishvara. Ganesha is one form of Ishvara. So you need to understand the glory of our tradition here. Being born in Hindu culture is a blessing. Why? Because you have a choice to pick the right form where your mind gets connected. Imagine another tradition. Do you have any choice? This is a real example. Somebody in this particular country told me, I wish I could relate to Ishvara in a feminine form, but no choice. God is always visualized as a male. I'm not saying that it is wrong. See, there is a standard rule, right? One size doesn't fit all. Every mind is different, right? Can you say that everybody in this universe should eat one type of food? Can you say that when you go to these malls and when you look at these dress aisles, right? You may wonder, anybody is going to buy this dress? There are people who likes it, right? Everything, there is the human mind thinks differently. So that is the concept of Ishta Devata comes in. So it's fine. You can relate God in what, or you can have multiple gods, right? I pray to Shiva for disease. I pray to Lord Subramania for strength and energy. I pray Ayyappa for something else. All that is fine. This is not a problem. So usually these Sakama Bhaktas, Sakama Bhakta means those who want some finite results from this world, they try to invoke different deities for as a means to accomplishing their results. And please extend this. Swami Chinmayananda always used to extend this to the material world. Some people may not say that I don't believe in God, but I'm devoted to wealth or I'm devoted to power. All that is also there. And suppose you want to make money, you have to follow that ritual. You need to learn the stock investing and you need to follow the rule. And there might be pujaris also there, like as brokers. They will be your mediator between you and the wealth. All that will happen. So don't think beyond religion. There is an applicability for all these things. So if my wish is certain thing, money, position, power, or knowledge, even knowledge seeking, you may find a broker or a pujari in between you and the knowledge, your teacher. You, depending upon what you need, you will approach that devata and you will follow that rules of the devata. How to, if you don't have direct skill to reach the devata, you will seek the help of the pujaris or the pandits. All that is fine. Now, is that wrong? That is the next verse. So let's see that. I'm sorry.
Is it you?
Oh, I deleted that by mistake. Oh, sorry. I know. Can you chant it? I don't have it.
No problem. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya chitumichhati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidathamyaham.
So this is beautiful verse, right? This we all need to keep it in our mind. So he tells, yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitu. This is beautiful. Shraddhayarchitu mischati tasya chalam shraddha mameva vidadamaham. So it's rhymes, right? Yo, yo, yam, yam, tasya, tasya. You can see all these verses. What Krishna is saying is that when you have these multiple pronouns, right? When you use the multiple pronouns, it means it indicates more than one. That is how Sanskrit is designed. So he tells whoever, right? Worship that deity, right? So suppose somebody is worshipping Ganesha with faith and with dharma. What happens? Shraddhayarchitum ischati. What happened? Tasya tasyachalam shraddham. What I will do? I will fulfill their desire. So the infinite God, one God, or the Paraprakriti, or the Brahman, or the absolute reality, receives all the worship you do through the finite forms. So invocation is more important than the form. You can pick up whatever form you want to worship, but whenever you worship Ganesha, whenever you worship Rama, whenever you worship Jesus, whenever you worship Allah, all that worship goes to one Ishvara. This is such a beautiful thing. And then Krishna said, whoever deity you worship, your desires will be fulfilled as long as it is aligned to dharma, and as long as it is aligned with the laws of nature through that deity. But all that blessing comes from that one infinite Ishvara. So tasya shraddham achalanim vipani. I will make their faith to that deity stronger, and I will fulfill their desire through that deity. So there is nothing wrong in praying for finite things. There is nothing wrong in praying to a particular deity. Understand that you are not praying to 10 different deities. You are praying to only one Ishvara. And whenever you invoke God in any forms, right? So a devout Christian, when he goes to the church and prays, if I can paraphrase what Krishna is saying, is that he is worshipping to me only. When a devout Muslim go and play in the Kaaba or doing their namaz, he is also worshipping that one God. When you go into the temple and praise to Ishvara, you are worshipping that one God. So there is completely irrational, illogical to fight that your God is better than my God. There is completely illogical to fight that Shiva is superior to Vishnu is superior to Shiva. This is the message. And very sad, Krishna's devotee always also fight on this, right? Some staunch Krishna's devotees will fight. So they should read what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. So very interestingly, I pointed out this to a Vaishnavite, and he said, Krishna didn't say that. He said, whoever deities you worship, they are worshipping Krishna. So you cannot win an argument with them, but understand this is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the vision of the Gita. It doesn't matter which form you worship. You can make a new form if that form is more convenient. So a couple of questions also. See, so that is why if your guru is a learned guru or a guru who is really interested in your progress, whenever you go and ask a guru or a request your guru for a mantra, if such gurus, what they will ask, who is your Ishta Devata? And then he will give a mantra for that Devata. But there are some institutions, what they do, they give a predefined mantra to all the people. Only recently one person talked to me and she told me she's a staunch devotee of Guru Ayyappan, but the mantra given to her was Lord Shiva. So now it's a double problem. So think. So it doesn't matter which form. It doesn't matter how you worship. The form and the mode of worship, what Krishna is saying, he's here for me, not for God. Right? Because the real God or the true God do not have a form. It transcends all the form. So it doesn't matter whether I worship the God in the form of a buffalo. In the Guruvayur temple, there is a beautiful story. One tribal person was there. He was asking, what form should I worship God? This learned Brahmin, he was so arrogant. He said, like, you should worship in the form of a buffalo. He started worshipping that form. And the story says, one day, it was very difficult to take that vigraha of the Lord outside of the sanctum sanctorum. And this tribal person said, the horn is locking there. His devotion was so powerful that God appeared in the form of the buffalo. So this is all stories to illustrate that it doesn't matter which form. So why the gods have human forms? Right? And why the gods wear all the 2000-year-old clothing style? It's all the form we developed for our convenience at that point of time. As long as it's good, that is fine. Otherwise, you can visualize a new form which gives you the most attraction and power. That's why in Puranas, you will see like Shiva Purana is there, Vishnu Purana is there, like the Shakteya Purana is there. If you read Vishnu Purana, Vishnu is the all-powerful deity. And if you read Shiva Purana, Vishnu goes and bows down to Shiva. And now the Vishnu Purana, it is the other way. And if you go to the Devi Purana, Devi is powerful than Vishnu and Shiva. It's all written for people who are inclined to a particular form. So the Vishnu Purana is not written for the Shiva devotees. If you are a naturally inclined to Shiva, better follow Shiva Purana. So I remember there was a time in 90s. Monday you get a serial in TV on Vishnu. Sorry, Sunday you get Vishnu Purana, and Monday you have Om Namah Shivaya. So in Sunday you will see Shiva coming and bowing down to Vishnu, and Monday you see the other way. So these type of contradictions are okay as long as you know it. And truly speaking, Shiva is Vishnu, Vishnu is Shiva. Last week we talked in Vishnu Sahasranama, one name of Vishnu is Shiva. Sarva Sharva Shiva Stanu, right? Sarva Sharva Shiva. So in the Shiva Sahasranama, you see a name called Vishnu. So there is no problem. And when you go to go and do these Ashtotarams, right? So I read Ayyappa Ashtotaram every day. Like that, some people read Shiva Ashtotaram or Devi Ashtotaram or Subramanya Ashtotaram. All those things people read, right? So when they read, you see some names are specific to that deity, but you could see a set of common names. For example, Anantaya Namaha. It is common in almost all the Ashtotaram. It is common in almost all the Sahasranam. So that form is for me. It is for my convenient. Ultimately, all the prayers goes to one Lord, as Krishna tells, and Krishna said whatever forms they pray, they get blessings from that form. I don't interfere in that. I only try to increase their faith in that particular mode of worship. But the limitation of such worship is their worship is or their bhakti is sakamaka bhakti, not the nishkama. That's that verse. Let's continue. 22. Anu, if you could chant.
Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate chatatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan.
Yes. So re-emphasizing the same point. Whenever I worship a particular form, Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha. Endowed with faith, following dharma, when one worship a particular form of Ishvara, in the form of Shiva or Vishnu or Rama or Jesus or Allah, it doesn't matter. What happened? Lepate cha tatak kaman. His desires will be fulfilled in that particular form because they are worshipping to that one God. So don't think that Rama is inferior or Devi is inferior. It doesn't matter. That one Lord fulfills all the desires. Tasya aradhanam ihate, right? Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha, with faith, tasya aradhanam ihate. When he connects with the Lord, tatak kaman labhate, his wishes will be fulfilled through that particular form. This is very important. This is verse 22. Now let's go to verse 23. So this is a big truth. So never, we should fight in the name of deities, or we should not have any conflict. And some people, what they do, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, right? They are not sure which God is going to help me. So they bring, some puja rooms, my God. They have almost all the forms of this deities. And you should listen to Swami Chinmayananda. He used to make a lot of joke out of it. He say, finally, you make a zoo of God. And then when you do Arati, you have doubt. I put 3 times to Ayyappa, then what Shiva thinks. So I have to do equally to all. So these type of feelings are human. Please don't put a human mind to God. One more thing, right? Think that what service I can do to God, right? Always I think that, okay, if you do this, I will give that. It's not, Lord is helping you not because of that. Then we don't understand the Ishvara. What is that Ishvara don't have? It's to show my commitment, it show my discipline. That is why I'm promising something, not for Ishvara. Ishvara don't need anything from me to increase his glory. Absolutely not. So understand that there is only one Ishvara. And any times when your kids ask, unfortunately in the syllabus, unfortunately the way they taught, they think that there are multiple gods, we are polytheistic. Absolutely not. So there is no, other views are fantastic, but this is fantastic also. Nobody can challenge this. That strong it is. Okay, so let's listen to one more verse.
Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamethasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi.
So we talked about the Sakama Bhakti, and we said that there is nothing wrong in Sakama Bhakti, but there are limitations for Sakama Bhakti. Because Sakama Bhaktas are what? A religious materialist. Don't think that you are spiritual. So religious, but not spiritual. This is very important. Sakama Bhakti, there is nothing wrong. Sakama Bhaktas are religious samsari. They cry in front of God, but their tears is not for knowledge of the God. Their tears is only for materialist thing. So an agnostic, he cries in the world, whereas a Sakama Bhakta, what they do? They cries in front of the God. But that is better, no problem. So what is the limitations of these materialistic goals? The scriptures say there are 3 problems, right? There are 3 problems for this materialistic goals. First problem is, it is dukkha mishritam. Dukkha mishritam means it is always mixed with sorrow. First of all, if you have a goal, to acquire that goal itself is very difficult. There is nothing wrong in that. There is nothing wrong in pursuing that. Understand the limitations of the materialistic goal. Then there is preservation, maintenance of that acquired object exactly as it is. It's very difficult. So preservation is a problem. And finally, there is a time you have to depart with that. Even if you live 120 years, still there is an end for this life. So parting is also a problem. So bottom line is, the materialistic goals are dukkha mishritam. Then another problem is what? Of this material, atrapti karam. Because you think that you are satisfied, but when you get it, you already talked about it. You are not satisfied. Then the third problem is what? Sambandhatvam. Sambandhatvam means you get attached with that, and when you are about to depart, it becomes a problem. And every material goal has this problem. So that is what Krishna tells. He tells all these material goals. He said, meaning they are pursued by alpa methasa, meaning those people with limited intellect or immature mind. They pursue this goal because they think that it will be completely happiness, complete contentment, and that is what it is. So what antavantu phalam, because alpamedasam, they pursue. Alpamedas means the people with limited thinking. They pursue this goal. What is that? What is the nature of that goal? Anta vanta phalam. It is antavanta means it is finite results. They worship, perform worship for finite form of the God for finite results. Right? Please understand that even Brahma and Indra, they are finite. There is a time they have to depart at the time of the pralaya. So all their effort is for finite things. That's a very key important factors. And such people worship gods, and what happens? They get that limited results. But the jnani, the one who truly worships me, makbhakta yanti mamapi. But the person who want to know me in its entirety, understand me, eventually reach me. What about the other people who go with the limited worship? They may get their results, but that results will have an end. That is the two different types of worship. So there is the bottom line Krishna is saying here is that worship to any form of the gods is fine. The forms are limited. The true God do not have a form. It is meaning it is beyond the form. So whenever I invoke God in a dharmic way, at any point of time, I am invoking that one God, and you get the results. But most of the times, most of the people pray for what? Finite results. There is nothing wrong in paying the finite results, but their very nature is finite. They comes with these three problems I just mentioned, right? It is dukkha mishritam, atraptikaram, and sambandagaram. Like dukkha mishritam means mixture of sorrow. Acquisition is difficult. Maintenance is difficult. Departure is more difficult. Then atraptikaram, it is never satisfied. You are never satisfied with that. And sambandham, meaning, okay, so you thought you will get a car. In ancient times, they say, right, in 90s, again, I'm going back to my childhood, 90s, when you think that if you get a Maruti Suzuki 800 car, it was a luxury for them. right? And then what happened? Once you get it, no way, right? But can you think about living without that? You are not satisfied. What you want is a BMW, but if you lose that Maruti, you cannot think about that. So that's the problem. These three problems are there. So those who seek finite things stay in that finite space. If you want to really grow, you need to seek me, you need to know me, and you need to understand me. That is what Krishna told. So this is revolutionary teaching, and we will continue next week, verse 24 onwards. So now Bhunaji will come back. So probably we'll do the chanting, and like after that, meaning I'll talk to Bhunaji once we stop the live session. So Bhunaji, like, if you don't mind, can you do the closing invocation? You're on mute, Bhunaji, sorry. You may have to unmute.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shantis Shantis Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi